Macy is asking me about furnished rentals versus non-furnished rentals. And this question comes up a lot from my clients that often just have places that they have furniture. We always dissuade them from it just because the logistics are just over the top. Uh, the problem with a furnished rental, so a furnished rental we would typically think would be a shorter term rental. So someone's going to rent it for a duration. Sometimes somebody who sold their home, uh, but their next home is not ready yet. So they might want to take your rental for 3, 4 months. The problem with that is the turnover is just going to be unreal, and having to find another tenant is going to cause you some vacancy. So with a short term rental, you could definitely charge more rent. So that's a pro. But the turnover is going to cost you a lot of your time and energy, and of course the vacancy gets extremely expensive. uh, the other problem is just trying to categorize and detail the condition of the furniture, and trying to charge somebody for that is going to be a logistic nightmare. You can charge, and I would recommend charging a separate security deposit for the furnishings, but trying to document it would just be a very difficult thing. I mean, if I were to do it, I would probably do it with a videotape, but then it's going to be a lot of work going through the videotape and trying to prove the damage that somebody did. The one thing I would probably consider doing if you wanted to rent furnished would be to try reaching out to folks who do something called Airbnb arbitrage. That's where somebody will be running a business through your rental as an Airbnb, but they're not going to own the property. Obviously, you'll own the property. And their big expense is they're going to rent your property over a year or more lease, and then they're going to run it as an Airbnb. And their big overhead, their huge expense is going to be having to buy all the furnishings, everything one needs for an Airbnb. And it's a lot. It's more than you think, because for an Airbnb to be run successfully, you need a couch, you need a bed, you need a bedside table, you need a coffee table, you need a rug, you need a towel, you need a dish towel, you need a fork, you need a spoon, you need a knife, and the list goes on and on and on. So if you were to provide a property that is furnished and you were to rent it out to an Airbnb arbitrager, they would likely pay you a little bit more rent. Um, there's going to be slightly more wear and tear on the property, in my mind, meaning if it was a long term tenant, they would be a little more careful about what they flush down your toilet and put down your drains. But to unclog these items are really not that much of an expense as one might think. And the benefit of Airbnb arbitrage or Airbnb is that every time somebody stays and leaves, the property is getting refreshed. Somebody's coming in, housekeeping is coming in and making the property new again. And a lot of the damage we get to our units would be, the use of a stove not getting clean, the use of a bathtub and a shower stall not getting cleaned properly. With an Airbnb, these things are basically getting all refreshed and made new, and somebody's going in and inspecting it regularly. So I would probably recommend staying away from trying to rent furnished, unless you can find an Airbnb arbitrager, or maybe trying to do that yourself. Airbnb makes it very easy. That's the other option. All right, good luck.